Welcome to another episode of Victoria's Lounge from the Radisson Blu Hotel. Now, there's nothing better than an unexpected act of kindness. But what if that act of kindness actually saved a life? You're about to meet three individuals who were either the hero or the grateful recipient in that story of an unexpected act of kindness. Let's meet them now. Arlene Njeri Migwi Mwangi is an interior designer, health volunteer, wife and mother. Her tale of avoiding a carjacking attempt thanks to an unexpected Good Samaritan is a story you don't want to miss. Say hi to Dad. I will. David Kalua is a student at USIU Africa studying International Business Administration and a photographer who would encounter one of the most frightening taxi rides of his life and in the process ended up saving one.
Okay, let me get my phone.
Dr. Wesonga Habil is a general practitioner with interests in the field of obstetrics and gynecology at Busia County Referral Hospital. His story is one about going beyond the call of duty to preserve a life and usher one into the world. So our first hero on the show this evening is David Kalua. I can imagine you didn't expect Valentine's Day to go the way it did this year. Definitely. Take us through your story. You were leaving school, you were heading home. You actually go to USIU.
Yes, I was. So I called an Uber. I was heading home. We were supposed to have dinner with the family.
Okay.
And so once we leave school, we're in the Uber with the driver. His name is Michael. Mm-hmm. And as we went on, we started talking, chatting, just no more chat in the Uber. So Michael tells me that, well, his work is going on well. He's had a tiring day because it was evening. I think I left class around 5:10.
Okay.
So basically, he wanted to go home. He was tired.
Yeah.
So since there was a lot of traffic, he suggested we pass through Ring Road, connect to Mudura, and then pass through City Stadium, and then head on to Langata Road. Okay. So once we get to Ring Road, as we approach Mudura roundabout, we found traffic. And we stop. As we stop, Michael told me he's not feeling well. He's feeling a bit dizzy, but he's saying he's fine. Okay. So I told him, okay. So I started using my phone. And as Michael picked his water bottle, drank, and he relaxed. After like 2 minutes, while I'm still using my phone, I'm not paying attention to Michael.
Right.
I hear the horn of our car beeping. So I start wondering, okay, what's happening? So when I turn and see Michael, he's in a seizure. And I think his foot moved from the brake pedal to the accelerator pedal. Oh
my! So what was going through your mind at that point? Because your face is going from your screen to a guy having a seizure, right?
So I literally panicked. I didn't know what to do. But when he stepped in the accelerator, I remembered, okay, I drive. So let me put the car on neutral and then pull the handbrake. At least he didn't step on the accelerator hard enough that we hit the car in front of us. So once we stopped the car, all the pedestrians walking on Ring Road and the boda guys, all of them noticed that there was something happening in the car because it's not tinted.
Right.
So they all come up with suggestions. They ask me, is he sick? What's happening with him? Like, is he dying? All these questions. I hear all these questions running through my mind.
Right, and coming from these,
and also all these people.
Everyone
is giving me suggestions on what I should do. So everyone is shouting suggestions. Then I heard this one lady shout, take him to hospital. Okay. So I'm like, okay, what should I do? So I'm like, which hospital, first of all?
Exactly.
I'm in Ring Road. I don't know the area well. So I ask, I shout to the crowd, to the pedestrians who are there, which is the nearest hospital. And they tell me, I don't remember the specific one, but they tell me and someone, there's the one that's next to the area that we were.
Right, right.
But I didn't know that hospital. So I said, I can't trust anyone who's here because I don't know their intentions.
Their motives, exactly, yeah.
So I had my laptop bag from school next to me. So I picked it up, put it in the back seat, and inclined the seat, the passenger seat, because I was sitting in the front.
Okay.
And then I asked one of the boda guys, could you please help me pull Michael from the driver's seat to the passenger seat.
Okay. So
they carried him. We carried him together. We put him. I closed the door. I was still scared of my laptop bag.
Gosh.
There's still Michael's phones, because he had the Uber phone, the smartphone, and then now his other phone, now his personal one.
And by now a crowd had formed around
around the whole car. So I figured there's some suspicious characters. So I picked 2 of his phones, put them in my pocket, put my phone in my pocket, and went to the driver's seat. And one of the boda guys told me, we'll clear the road for you, and then you continue.
They offered to help you clear the road?
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
Kenyans are just amazing.
Wow. Wow.
So they helped me. They kept hitting people's cars, telling them to move. Got into the driver's seat, started driving, hazards on and full lights. We got to the Mudhuru roundabout. There was a lot of commotion because of all the traffic, so we kept going. Luckily, when we passed Mudhuru, the boda guys told me they have to go.
Okay.
Because
they've left. Out which hospital that you...
I knew I was going to Mata for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the hospital that I knew myself. So the boda guys told me they have to go because they've left their bikes, most of them. So they went back. So now it was me against the world.
Yeah. What was going through your mind, because this is a guy you have no idea, he's unconscious, of course.
Yes.
Whether he's dying, you have no idea what his condition is, and you're having to drive this car.
Yes. To be honest, all that was going through my head was, please God, don't let this guy die.
Right.
When I am taking him to hospital, at least let him live to see another day.
Right.
So we continue going, and when I get to next to City Stadium roundabout, one matatu guy noticed, with the big matatus, I think the ones that go to Umoja or Buruburu, they noticed that I had someone who's sick in the car, because he was still shaking. Then he noticed and he told me, follow me, I'll clear the way for you.
Wow.
I told him, sawa.
These unexpected individuals coming to
help out. It's like I had a siren of my own and I didn't ask for it.
Right.
Yeah, so he started hooting, you know the horns that matatus have. He started hooting, flashing lights and all that. His conductor came out of the matatu, started clearing the road a bit. We got to the stadium. The policeman just told me go. We passed. We got to Lusaka Road. Now we're past the DT Dobi roundabout. When we passed there, Michael stops shaking. So I panic at first. I'm like, okay, is he like gone or what is happening? So I turn to him. I call him. He's answering, but in a very low tone. I'm like, okay, at least
he's conscious. He needs to hear your voice. Yeah.
So we keep going. Once we get to the roundabout that you go towards Mata Hospital, Michael, I ask him, Michael, he answers. He tells me, yes. I told him, do you know where we are? He's like, no. He's like, I ask him, are you okay? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. I don't know if he's answering correctly or not.
Right.
Then I asked him, do you want to go to hospital? He said, yes. So I knew, okay, he's fine.
Right.
We got to South B Hospital.
Yeah.
Michael came out. I called one of the guards from South B Hospital. They called the doctor and 2 nurses. They came with a wheelchair. The doctor asked Michael a couple of questions. He said he's still regaining his consciousness.
Yeah.
And
so what did they say happened to him once they kind of assessed
his condition? Yeah, after when we got to hospital, they couldn't assess exactly what happened. Okay. So I told them like what he had told me, that he was feeling hungry and tired. So they figured it was that. Okay. But then once we waited for him to regain his consciousness completely, that was about 1 hour or 2 hours. Michael finally, he said, the doctor asked him, have you experienced any convulsions before? Right. He said no. Oh, wow. Do you have high blood pressure? No. Diabetes? No. So we really don't know what happened. What was the trigger or anything like that. But the doctor said it's probably because he was tired. And what's amazing is if it wasn't for your quick thinking, you actually being there, he wouldn't be even here. And let's actually hear from Michael and his side of the story. Of course, for most of the story, he was not conscious. But let's hear his story really quickly.
Naitwa Michael Inina. Na ninafanya sana mimi nafanya travel and tours, lakini when it's not busy saa ingine nafanya na Taxify ama na Uber. So there was a situation ambapo nilikuwa hapo USIU, alafu kijana fulani akaitisha vile ile style ya Taxify, ikaring kwa simu yangu, nikachukua, alafu nikamwambia pahali niko. In fact alikuja mpaka kwa gate ya USIU, alafu akaniambia destination yake na start trip. Tango to start trip. So when we were driving nikamuuliza, akaniambia tuende Karen. Area Karen hivi. Alafu nikamuuliza kwa sababu wewe ndiye unatumianga hii njia most of the time, maybe this particular time unapenda kutumia njia gani? Akaniambia tutumie njia ya Kamukunji via Machakos bus stop, alafu tupitie Shauri Moyo, tukatie hiyo ya Industry area, tuke roundabout ya Nyayo Stadium, which was very convenient. Basi ndio hivyo tulifanya. Kaenda tukiongea, it was mambo mazuri tu, mambo ya shule. Alafu tulipofika roundabout ya Kariakoo, jamu ikaanza kidogo. Ilikuwa like 5 jioni hivi. Jam kidogo, tukateremka, tukapiga roundabout ya Kariakoo, tukachukua left, hiyo njia toward Kamukunji police. Alafu in between hapo nikaanza kusikia like kiu. Nasi nilikuwa na maji hapo kwa gari na chupa, nikafungua nikasip. After like 5-6 minutes, I mean like 3 jamu sasa ikashikana, tunaenda pole. Like 6 minutes nikaanza kusikia kizunguzungu. For whatever reason ambayo sijaelewa, sijapata siku ingine. Baada ya kitu kama dakika 5 nika faint na nilikuwa kwa steering. Kutoka hapo sijui what happened. Last time kutoka hapo nilijisikia niko hospitali. Sasa hiyo story ingine David ndiye alijua what he did, but I came to realize alinitoa pale kwa steering akaniweka kwa hiyo kiti ya left on his own. Hata kidogo aliniambia alisaidiwa na watu ya bodaboda, na kumbuka kulikuwa jam sana, na akapeleka gari mpaka hospitali moja past Mata, sijui hapo inaitwa South B, nafikiri ni South B. Alafu kaingia hospitali, akaenda akaleta ile kiti. Sikuwa natembea, nilikuwa nime collapse, sijielewi. Akaniingiza kwa hiyo, akaitisha kagari kwa hapo kwa reception, wakanisukuma hapo ndani, nikafanywa first aid na David, akanikalisha hapo mpaka nikajisikia. Kakaa tu, kamuuliza, nikakumbuka ndiye nilikuwa na drive. Akaniambia ndio, niliona umelemewa, nikakutoa kiti ya driver kuweka kiti ya left, kasaidiwa, nikachukua simu zako, alafu nikakupeleka kuleta hapo hospitali. So baada hivyo tu akangojea nikapata nafuu na nikajisikia. Alafu akaniuliza contact, nikampatia ya bibi. Alafu bibi akaongea na daktari, akamuelezea pahali hospitali iko. And then wakakuja wakanipata hapo. By then David alikuwa amelipa consultation fee na ameongea na daktari ameniona. Nikaishia hapo. Sasa kutoka hapo David alinifuatilia, akapiga, akaniambia kama naweza kumwashilia aende sasa. Kaambia sasa umefanya more than anybody I've ever seen, lakini nimeshukuru. Kaambia siungojee bibi akuje mjue. Kaniambia hapana, acha nikimbie kwa sababu kuna late. By then kulikuwa kumelate, imekuwa kama saa 1 usiku. Almost alikana mimi like 2.5 hours to 3. Alafu akaenda. Baadaye kidogo nilipotoka hospitali like 10, akanipigia simu nyumbani, akajua kama nimefika. So kutoka hapo we have been talking, we have been corresponding. Nimesikia nimwambie tu hiyo hali ilikuwa wakati huo na ikaisha. That was it. Now David nimshukuru sana. In fact sijakutana na guest ya aina hiyo. I never thought there are people like David. Still manake mtu ya kwanza the first thing he could do ni kuchukua maybe wallet yangu na simu ama gari pia. Lakini David really did something ambayo sitasahau, ambayo nitamshukuru maisha yangu. Na nikamwambia anything, tukikutana kuja nimchinjie mbuzi kitu kama hiyo. Sasa hatujakutana tena since then, lakini we have been talking. Nikampatia my daughter simu, akampigia, wakaongea, akamwambia watamuitia lunch. Sasa I don't know how they have been corresponding, but all I know kuna kijana mzuri anaitwa David katika Kenya hii.
It's amazing, David, because you also paid for his consultancy fee.
Yes.
Then called his wife and told the wife, listen, we're here at the hospital. Can you come and see him and get him?
Now, that was actually very crazy, because when we got his phone and started looking for his wife's number, the way he had saved her, we couldn't find it.
Oh my.
So we looked and looked and looked. And finally, when Michael regained his consciousness, we asked him, okay, what's your wife's number? He got his phone, looked and found the number. Then we called the wife and then notified her of what had happened, and she said she's on the way.
I have to ask before we wrap up, what did that experience do for you? How did it change you?
I realized that in life, whatever you want, you expect someone to do to you, do it to yourself first. Do it to someone else first before you expect it to be done to you. Wow. And always be good in general. And I got to know that Kenyans can really help.
Yes.
Normal Kenyans who experience life, they know how to help people, and they always offer help. Well, some didn't, but
at least those with good hearts.
Yeah.
The good Samaritans in our society.
They did.
And you're one of them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, Victoria.
And kudos for your good work.
Thank you very much.
Michael would not be here if it wasn't for you.
Yes.
All right, let's take a short break here on Victoria's Lounge. When we get back, we'll be talking to Arlene Wanga. She has an interesting story of literally missing a carjacking by the skin of her teeth. You'll see what we're talking about when we get back. All right, welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. We're talking about unexpected acts of kindness. Joining us now is Arlene. My goodness, your story is so dramatic. Was reading through it a bit earlier on, and I'm thinking, first, the quick thinking for you to think, and I know we'll get into that story, but it always happens when you're heading home, things seem normal, and then something out of the ordinary happens. So just take us through your story.
We were leaving Madaraka. We were heading home to Donholm. It was about 11:30 at night. As we're driving, you know, casually we notice a car behind us. That's on Lusaka Road when you're going down to City Stadium. But we tend to ignore it because you're like, could be anything. Right. Somebody heading the same way as us. But they were trailing, and we were thinking, the road is very clear. Maybe they should overtake us. But we you know, ignored them. Till we got to the City Stadium roundabout, and they were still behind us. And alarm bells just started ringing, and that apprehension that sinks in your stomach, and you're like, I'm not quite sure, but something just doesn't seem right. Yeah. So there were no other vehicles ahead of us, just an old vehicle that was going very slowly on the slow side of the lane. Okay. So we thought maybe we should follow it just to see if these people are trailing us or we're just being apprehensive for nothing. This is Nairobi after all. Right. So when we followed the slow car, so did they. Wow. And that was a fast, you know, warning sign, these people, they're not up to any good. So we chose to So I told my husband, maybe we should speed up or something and see.
If now they follow
If they now
once
actually
more.
follow us. At this point, you're past the Bama market. Now we're driving down. So we jumped up and we raced off. And when I looked in the back, these guys were actually behind us. And that was a little bit insane. Now we're chasing each other on Jogoo Road. They're literally now trying to overtake and now come in front. I guess that's how they hijack.
Of course, yeah.
And as we're racing, I noticed an Moina matatu in the front. And I told my husband, I think this is the point where we should just go and get help from these people. Maybe they will help us. But even if they don't help us, at least we will be with other people.
Exactly.
We can even leave the car and get into that bus and go wherever. And so luckily the Umoina just chose at that point to get into the petrol station. So we zoomed in right after the Umoina. And when we got into the Umoina, the car did not even try to hide, just stopped right near them. Outside the petrol station. So we could actually see they were right outside the petrol station. So any misgivings we had at this point, we
pretty much confirmed.
They were confirmed. Right. So we spoke to the conductor, and we asked him, because as they were fueling, we told him, please, well, that car is following us and we are scared. Wherever you're going, we are willing to follow you. Just don't leave us here, because we have a feeling that this will not end well. So the driver, the conductor said, no, let me talk to the driver and see what he has to say. So the driver came out and we told him the story, and he was like, you know what, where are you guys going? We said Donholm. They told us we go through the Buruburu route. We don't use the Donholm route. So do you guys mind following us through there? We said we don't mind. Wherever you are going.
We have company on the road.
Yes, we are okay following you. We don't mind. So the driver was like, you know what, we'll take you. It's okay. Just get in your car, put on your hazards, and follow us. We'll put blaring music and everything, so that it's, you know, everybody can see we're on the road. Don't worry, we'll just take you through.
And they actually have passengers on board.
They had passengers. It was a full vehicle, full of passengers. Yes.
Wow.
I think it was their last trip.
Okay.
Right.
It's amazing because generally matatus from Umoja have a reputation.
Yes, they do. Indeed.
And you don't see that coming. And I think that's what makes your story so unique and really encouraging to a lot of people, that they decided, you know what, we're actually going to escort you. So you're actually following them.
Yes.
To your estate.
Yes. And they were willing, the most amazing part of this story is that they were willing to take us home, which is out of their route completely. Because we part ways at, they normally go, as I said, Buruburu, then they get to Umoja. We usually use the Donholm route, which right now is under construction. So I'm thinking that is where they would have, you know, hijacked us from, because there's so much construction going on. The underpasses being made, overpasses and everything, too much. So anything can happen there and no one will even notice. Yeah, so they were actually willing to take us. In fact, when we noticed we couldn't see the car anymore, we stopped and they were like, are you sure you guys want to go home by yourself, or do you want, including the passengers? That was amazing part. The passengers were like, we shouldn't leave them unless we are sure. We can take them all the way to their gate and then we can go. We are many, they're just two. And that was the amazing part of that. That act of kindness.
It's amazing. And you put the story up on Facebook and put the registration of the matatu. You were looking for them. You've gotten in contact with them.
Yes.
Wow.
When immediately I put it, I only had the registration. I didn't even know the matatu's name. Just one KCK 135C. Immediately I put it up on Facebook. By the 10th comment, people had discovered what matatu it was, taken a picture of the matatu, called the people of the matatu, contacted me on my inbox and told me this is the driver's handle on Facebook, as well as his telephone number. So I immediately called him. He told me his name is Wambua, Francis Wambua, to be precise. And I just told him, I just wanted to tell you thank you. And he was very happy. And if we could meet for maybe dinner, drinks, anything, we are willing. Quite a few people were very taken up by his kindness. People were even talking about doing for him, either even giving him life insurance. Just things. People, amazing. Yeah, so quite a few people are actually planning to do something for the driver. They were very, you know.
And since that ordeal, I mean, do you feel apprehensive driving around at all at night since that? Okay.
Very apprehensive. I haven't driven home at night.
I can imagine, yes.
After that,
Wow.
I'm still a bit shaken.
Wow,
It's a
yeah.
bit jarring when something like that happens to you. You can
Absolutely.
imagine the tension. You're sweating, you're nervous, you're thinking, this could be the last day I see my babies. So many things are going in your head at that point.
Yeah.
Because most hijackings don't normally have a happy ending. Most of the chances, and as a woman, you're also vulnerable to other things like rape, etc. So all those things are running in your mind. And you don't really think there's anything that is going to protect you. Of course, you're praying, but you're also thinking all these things that could happen if this actually happened. So for me, the fact that this did not happen is a very encouraging story in itself.
And I really wonder, has this kind of put your faith back into humanity? There's good people out there.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. There have been quite a few bad stories about Islands, we have to say. You know what, with the Kayole and everything. But this just puts back the perspective that we are actually kind to each other if we only try.
Yeah.
You know, especially, this is Islands. Who's going to save you? Who's going to help you? And yet it was a matatu, the very quintessential opposite of what what actually happens,
Right,
what
right.
you'd expect from a tattoo crew. They're the people who stretch their hands in kindness towards us. So I have to say that kindness exists in every one of us. We just have to look for it, and you'll find it.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for coming in, Arlene.
You're welcome.
And to think you put the story up there, and now that could potentially change the life of the driver who helped out and the crew who were just kind enough
Yes.
to offer a hand of help, which is amazing. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's take a short break here on Victoria's Lounge. Much more ahead, an amazing story of a doctor who went above and beyond to save the life of a pregnant mother. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge now with our other hero, Dr. Habil Wonga. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You have an amazing story. Of course, we know doctors sacrifice a lot when it comes to the hours that they have to put in, the energies for the profession that they actually do. But your story is amazing because how long had you actually been a doctor when this ordeal happened?
I had actually been a doctor for just like 3 months only.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were taking part in active management of these patients. So I was stationed at St. Mary's Mumias Hospital.
Okay.
And yeah, I met a mother who really needed a lot of help. She had a condition called eclampsia. It's a condition whereby you're pregnant, past 20 weeks of pregnancy, and you have really high blood pressure. So the blood pressure has negative effects on both the mother and the baby.
Wow.
So when we met the mother, and she was already eclamptic, it's a situation whereby you've convulsed.
Wow.
And convulsions lead to neurological damage, so she could have actually had brain damage. So we really needed to deliver this baby as safe as possible and very fast. So the mother had twin gestation, which means that she had 2 babies, and one was actually, the first baby was in breech presentation, so which moved our management. We couldn't induce her to deliver normally. We needed to go for cesarean section because when the first pregnancy is in breech, she can't really deliver normally. There are usually problems with it. So we were to plan for an emergency cesarean section, but now our setback was that we didn't have enough blood. So we tried looking around for blood to no avail.
Yeah.
We asked the custodian, the relative she was with, even the husband, to donate this blood so that we give it to her. They do what we call replacement. You get any blood, and then we give you whatever you need. So this time round, we asked the husband to donate blood for her, and you know, he's a casual laborer, so he thought, no, I can't work after donating blood, so I'm out of the equation. We asked him to bring his relatives or anyone who was willing, but really, time was actually moving, and we're not getting blood. The other option was to get someone, pay them to donate blood, and that's really expensive, around 3,000 per person. Wow. Yeah, and so we were dealing with a family who are financially constrained. Yeah, so they're not even able to manage the bill, let alone pay for 3,000 for the blood. And I realized I usually donate blood oftenly, so I realized 3 months had elapsed since I last donated blood, and maybe I could just give out this blood. And luckily she was the same blood group as me, or positive. So yeah, I donated my blood. It was screened for all those things that they usually screen for, and then transfused. So the next day, I took her to theater to deliver, and unfortunately, we found the first twin. The first baby had actually died already.
Oh no, they didn't survive.
Yeah, so we got the other baby out. They're all boys actually.
Wow.
So got the baby out. Then eventually, the next day, while I was doing my post-operative care to this patient, she called me aside, very jovial, asking Daktari, "What are your two names? I want to name my baby after you."
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really, really moving, and I was not of the idea, because I thought, you know, when you're giving names, you have to involve your husband and everyone that is needed.
Right.
And maybe I knew the husband really had a bigger say than the lady, so I asked her to confirm,
check with him that it's okay.
to confirm from the other side before she could actually give the names to the child. And she had already consulted from the husband, so she asked me to write my two names down. And
but the fact that you scrubbed in for her C-section after you had given blood, I mean, you just went into doctor mood.
Yeah.
After you have given blood, it's amazing.
Yeah, you know, we have so many myths. People think that when you donate blood, you don't work as normal as you should.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm citing an example of this husband who was saying, I can't donate blood, and I'm supposed to be riding a border next, so I can't do it. So we have so many myths that make us not access blood. We have institutions. You know, Red Cross mainly gets blood from secondary schools, but we find that the elderly people in Kenya don't like donating blood because they believe, you know, they have some negative thoughts towards blood donation. But we want to assure them that there are really no negative effects as such. In fact, it just your body regenerates. You know, the moment you donate, it will replace it almost immediately. So we want to encourage people to donate blood. Maternal mortality was really high initially. We thank God for Beyond Zero campaigns, because it's really coming down. And doctors out there are really working hard to avert any maternal death, especially where I am.
All right, that's amazing, because your story also highlighted the fact that something like blood that should have been readily available in a hospital was not, that now the doctor had to give of their own. So it highlighted a gap.
Yes, sure.
Has that been dealt with since?
Not really. Working in the public sector, for example, you really have to improvise so many things. It gets to a point you don't have, you know, basic drugs, basic things. For example, we even have machines that were bought for the hospital, but they are not being used up to now. I don't know why. Maybe because they don't have the technocrats, or maintenance costs are high. So our public health sector is really lacking in so many gaps, and we try and step in where we can, but you see, we can now do it for, you know, you can't improvise everything. It gets to a point that you really need specific things to be able to run the hospital.
And you still have kept in contact with the mother?
Yeah, I've kept in constant contact with the mother for like the past. The last time I talked to her was actually 1 month ago.
Wow. I
realized she has gone. Her phone is leaving. Asked you to leave a message. I don't know what happened to her phone, but I was actually planning to pay her a visit. I'm yet to know where she lives, but the hospital will help me track her to be able to find how she's doing. Yeah. And
you've been offering support as well?
Yeah, I've once in a while, you know, Unga was really expensive recently, and she would once in a while say she doesn't have enough food, she doesn't have, you know, all those things. So once in a while I'd send her some cash to be able to bring up the child nicely. So I thought it's a good idea, since they come from a low, they are disadvantaged economically. I thought I'd take it upon myself to take care of this baby until, hopefully, if I'll be alive, until I see him graduate from the university.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And I mean, how much has this changed your life, your profession as a doctor?
Yeah, it has really changed it a lot. Someone was calling me a socialite recently.
Because of all the attention now that you're getting.
So much attention. Everyone wants to know where you are, which station you are. There is so much attention you receive from people who've seen the story on Facebook. But ideally, it has, you know, religion is like, kindness is like religion to me. You know, I really believe in being kind to people, whether they need help or the one who needs help. I believe kindness is like is like rent we pay for life. It's something we need to be doing over and over. So when I get positive stories, I posted it on Facebook, thinking it will be a normal post the way I usually do my posts. But this one really got so much attention. But it really pushed me towards ensuring that I did more for the community, because people appreciate, and reading comments on Facebook, everyone saying, thank you, Daktari, thank you for doing this. We all must embrace this spirit of camaraderie so that we come up and help one another.
Amazing. Dr. Habil Wonga, thank you so much for coming and reminding us. That was a really good point. Kindness is the rent we pay for life. I hope you were inspired by all the stories you heard today, those unexpected acts of kindness and how it can change and even save a life. Thanks for watching Victoria's Lounge. Thank you to the Radisson Blu Hotel for hosting us. Let's do this again next week. Have a wonderful evening.
Sound check. Andi watu wa mkono. Ni mamuija hapa. Utakuwa tu sawa. Anasema tu ni private. Nende mmebangu mlango. Tambia Martin, na waste tape.
My way here.
Yes.
And you know they were trying to like overtake us.
Seriously.
So they're not so rich there.